Comedy Central was a cable network that nobody watched.
Nobody
watched.
Nobody.
So they gave him a show and said, "Hey man, do whatever you want to do. Hey, whatever you want to do with your show."
I agree with you.
I agree with you. This is a show that nobody's watching.
Which is why
it's
they
a
also
network and nobody watching.
Which is why they also agreed to split the revenue with him half and half. And when the show took off, they realized they weren't going to be able to honor the contract. So they tried to offer him 20% instead of 50%. You know what I mean? Like, I can do a joke. There's a comic friend of mine named David Lucas. He did a joke about George Floyd that made all the black people in his show get up and walk out. Does it matter? No, because they already paid their money and shit. And all the white people that came to see him loved the joke, so he's going to be more popular when he comes back to that city than he was the last time. But at the same token, what did he lose?
Listen, man, I feel like with black comics, your base is black folks. I don't care how.
Who told you that? It all depends on where your base is, where you start. If that nigga started at white people comedy clubs, his base will never be black folks. That's the reason why black folks didn't catch on to Dave Chappelle until 2004.
No, listen. I feel black folks is your base. That's your base. That's who's gonna ride with you, whether you up or you down or you not even around.
Niggas don't ride with niggas.
They gonna ride with you.
Niggas didn't ride with Katt Williams until he did the Club Shay Shay interview. Niggas been riding with Kevin Hart the last 15 years.
Are you crazy?
Niggas been riding with Mike Epps. Niggas been riding with Kevin Hart. Niggas been riding with everybody but Katt Williams.
Katt Williams been, like he said, he's done 9 sold out 100 city tours.
No. That's not what I'm talking about.
He's been touring this whole time.
I'm talking about when niggas say, I'm talking about when black people talk amongst each other and we say, who's the top nigga at the game? When the last time Katt Williams' name was in that conversation before the Club Shay Shay interview?
Katt Williams is not on social media, and that's where most people are.
Katt Williams is on social media.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He may have a handle, but he ain't posting. He not doing videos. He not in your face like Kevin Hart.
Katt Williams was a star before social media was invented. So what does him being on social media do?
Because that's what makes people talk. Just like when people talk about Kevin. That's when people talk about Kevin. That's why everybody's talking about him now, because he was on YouTube.
So how was he able to do 9 sold-out shows while also not being on social media? If social media means you saying it.
Because he's with Live Nation. Live Nation already has
He wasn't always with Live Nation.
Since his first tour.
And guess what?
Since his first tour. You don't do no
he wasn't always with Live Nation. And
you don't do no big tour in the United States without Live Nation.
Live Nation is not the only touring company. You be saying a whole lot of shit based on what you know, but what you know ain't a whole lot.
Listen, what other touring company for comics where he has his...
There are 5, sir. So there's NAEG. There's Outback Entertainment. There's One Wish. There's also AEG. There's also BMN. There's also...
These are not... These.
I'm talking about these are national. These are
not
national
promotional companies.
These are promotional companies that put on arena tours. I'm not talking about theaters. I'm not talking about comedy clubs. I'm talking about 5,000 to 10,000 to 50,000 seats. These are arenas. Outback Entertainment puts on most of your black comedians. So does AEG. NAEG puts on a lot of black and black servicing acts. BMN does all black content.
The biggest touring company for concerts is Live Nation.
Live Nation is the biggest. Live Nation is the biggest name because they do other things. Because they do things outside of comedy. Live Nation does music shows.
Yes, they're the biggest touring company. They're the biggest. Live Nation.
They're not the biggest. They're not the biggest comedy. They're not the biggest in comedy. Outback is the biggest in comedy.
But listen. Katt is bigger than just comedy. Now
this nigga do more than tell jokes.
No. They don't do more than tell jokes. But he
Which
was
side of the argument are you gonna stand on, nigga? Either he ain't been shit because he ain't been on social media,
I didn't say
or
that.
he's the biggest name because he's on the biggest company. But even in none of that, even in any of that,
people wasn't
have
talking
people
about
been talking about Katt Williams' name as the top nigga in comedy before he did Club Shay Shay this year? No.
But listen,
they've been talking about Kevin.
Listen,
They've been talking about Katt. They've been talking about 85. I mean, I'm sorry, not Kevin. They've been talking about Kevin. They talked about Mike. They talked about 85 South. They talked about.
Where are you getting these from? Where are you getting these facts from?
I'm talking about the most successful domestic comedy tours of the last.
What black folks we've been talking about?
Yes, of the last 5 years, and you can include mother have more than black fans.
Okay, we got to get out of here. But
Dave Chappelle has been in that conversation.
In the last 5 years?
In the last 5 years, Dave Chappelle has been at the top of that conversation. Kevin Hart has been at the top of that conversation. Mike Epps has been at the top of that conversation. D.L. Hughley has been at the top of that conversation. Katt Williams has not been at the top of that conversation, where he once was the #1 comedian in the country. But he fell out of favor with the powers that be. And they put put Kevin in his place.
So my original thing is I said black folks is your base. That's my original. I'm not talking about powers that be. I'm talking about black folks is your base. Black folks is gonna be there when you up, and if you down, they gonna be there. The white folks and with David Lucas, black folks
stopped coming to see Katt when he fell off.
When did he fall off?
He fell off when he first started doing the shows in Oakland and shit, when he started bombing, when they start slipping shit in his drinks, when he started getting all those arrests. Yeah, go back and watch. He did a show in Oakland one time that it was really, really bad. He ended up like going off on the crowd and shit. Too Short had to come out on stage and like basically save the show. They was like, hey, yo, who put something in that nigga drink?
So he fell off after one show?
No. That started the slide that took him from the position of #1 to like number 5 or 6 where he is now. That's what started when he started getting arrested every month, when he started like fighting niggas at Target, when they started taking his kids from him, when they started showing pictures of him with his hair all over his head and shit.
Yeah, but I think black folks are still riding with Katt.
Only the faithful ones.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Black folks is gonna ride with you.
Most black folks
That's
are
your base.
Sheep. Most black folks are sheep.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Niggas don't ride with you. Quit saying that niggas ride with you and that's their base. No, your base are the people that you can count on, period. And you can't count on most because if you're no longer popular.
One of the reasons I think Dave Chappelle got so popular is because black folks started. Black folks started tuning in and talking about
total bull. Dave Chappelle was called Pilot Boy because this nigga got 21 TV shows offered to him before niggas knew who the he was. It wasn't until he did Killing Them Softly in 2005 that niggas even started taking the Chappelle Show for granted. I mean,
black folks didn't
appreciating the Chappelle Show.
Black folks didn't even watch Killing Me Softly.
Niggas watched Killing Me Softly because it came out on Showtime, and it was also after he did the Rick James. I'm Rick James, and
no, he did Killing Me Softly first.
No, he did not. He did Rick James in 2004. Look it up. Look it up.
You talking so passionate, be so wrong.
Because you be so wrong, bro.
You be so wrong.
You be so damn wrong. The Chappelle
Killing
Show.
Me Softly, he did that before.
He did not.
That's the jean suit, right? With the blue jean?
Killing Them Softly came out in 2005.
That's when he had the blue jean shirt on and the Timbs, right?
You're talking about For What It's Worth.
Oh, no.
Killing Them Softly came out in 05, G. Killing Them Softly came out after the second season of Chappelle Show was already out. Chappelle Show came out in 03. Season 1 didn't get hardly any support from niggas because it was on Comedy Central and it aired at 10 p.m. at night.
You said to say that again?
It wasn't until he did the second season of Chappelle Show, and that's the shit that had Rick James on it, and I'm Rich, bitch, and shit like that. The Player Haters Ball and shit like that. The shit that made Chappelle Show.
Killing Me Softly came out in 2000. For What It's Worth came out in 2004. Nobody watched Killing Me Softly. That was the first special he ever did. For What It's Worth came out in 2004 was the second one. And then
What I just tell him? That he's talking about what? For What It's Worth. That came out after Chappelle Show.
No, I'm talking about Killing Me Softly.
Killing Them Softly came out before Chappelle Show.
No.
And niggas was fucking with it.
No.
Killing Them Softly came out before Half Baked.
You be so wrong, because Killing Me Softly came out in 2000, right? Dave was popular with white folks.
Yes.
For What It's Worth came out around 2004. That's when around the time that the Chappelle Show was popping in 2004.
So you gotta understand.
In 2004.
Understand,
and then
For What It's Worth was
people
out,
started.
For What It's Worth was out for like a year or two
People
before
started,
niggas caught on, before Showtime picked it up.
But listen, the Dave Chappelle and For What It's Worth, the first season was around about the same time.
Right.
2005 is when the second season came out, is when black folks started getting on it, and then they made Dave Chappelle popular. They
didn't make Dave Chappelle popular. You don't get no motherfucking TV show without already being the shit to white folks.
Nobody was watching it. Nobody was watching the first season.
Nobody
watched the first season, no.
Donte.
Nobody watched the first season. He didn't get the $50 million deal until after the second season.
See, and it's niggas like you who keep on talking about numbers that they don't know. The $50 million, the $50 million that they talking about, was that $50 million was only 10%.
But that was the third season when he got that, because the second season had done so well. Because black people started watching it.
Can I please give
black people started watching?
Can I please give you some information that niggas need to understand?
Go ahead.
There are only 13% of black people in this whole country. Is comprised of. If you had every black person in this, and you know, like I know, that all niggas don't think the same. All niggas don't enjoy the same things. There are niggas that hate Dave Chappelle that have never watched anything that he's done. And that's half of niggas. All of niggas only make up 13% of the population.
Okay.
This nigga had a show on Comedy Central. It's a white network that caters to white people. He already had 21 other pilots before Chappelle Show. Chappelle Show is the only show he had that took off.
You know why Comedy Central gave him a show? You know why they gave him a show?
Because Half Baked took off and everybody loved Killing Them Softly.
No. Comedy Central was a cable network that nobody watched. Nobody watched. Nobody. So they gave him a show and said, "Hey man, do whatever you want to do. Hey, whatever you want to do with your show."
I agree with you.
I agree with you. This is a show that nobody's watching.
Which is why
it's a network and nobody watching.
Which is why they also agreed to split the revenue with him half and half. And when the show took off, they realized they weren't going to be able to honor the contract. So they tried to offer him 20% instead of 50%. No, I'm sorry, 10% instead of 50%, which is where the $50 million came from. That's why he turned it down and walked away, because they were hoeing him. Niggas just hear $50 million and be like, he turned his back on $50 million. Yeah, that nigga was smoking crack. No. The man did contract negotiations, and they said, well, we know we supposed to pay you $250 million because the show garnered $500 million last year and saved our network. But there's no way we can pay you this because we weren't expecting. It's like when a motherfucker signed an incentive.
How they can't pay you? How they can't pay $250 if it makes $500?
So let me explain it to you. If you have a network that is bankrupt largely, and then they start receiving monies, they take those monies and rather than pay back the shit they do, they go get fresh work with it. They go hire in new departments and shit. You talking to a person who had a TV show on the development table when True TV got bought out by Turner Broadcasting, and Warner Brothers and Turner Broadcasting did a merger. So then there were department heads that were here that got the same job over here, and one of them got to cancel each other out. They had already cut me a check. And then a month later, the whole department got fired.
Yeah, that's called a development deal.
Exactly.
But that ain't.
So I'm breaking it down for you. So the money that he got when he signed the pilot deal, they told him, we'll bust the revenue down the middle with you. They weren't expecting it to be that successful. Then when it was that successful, flat out, they like, we not giving this nigga that much money.
You know where Comedy Central made all their money from?
Off the Chappelle Show.
Yeah, but
and the Man Show, which was Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope.
No, but I'm specifically speaking about Chappelle Show. You know where they made all their money from? It wasn't from advertising, because that's where mostly networks.
No, it's from the DVD box sales.
Exactly.
Yeah, that and South Park.
It was like 500. They made like 500 million.
And they were supposed to give Dave half of that
on the DVDs.
And they were supposed to give Dave half of that, which would have been $250. They said, we're not giving this nigga $250 million. Him, we'll give you 50. And that was after his lawyers went in there and got busy. And he like, 50? Yeah, nigga. Who else gonna give you $50 million? Where you gonna go, nigga? And he like, I'll go home. And they told him, by the time you get home, we'll destroy you. And he left and went to Yellow Springs. And by the time his plane landed in Dayton, Ohio, they had already said that man was a crackhead, that he had went to South Africa, that he gave his show up to be a...
That wasn't what happened.
Okay,
your facts are wrong.
Okay, then.
Want me to tell you, I'm going to remind you how your facts are wrong.
I'm going to remind you how my facts are right.
Okay, so look. He was already doing season 3.
Yes.
He was already doing season 3.
Yes.
Season 2 had already wrapped.
Yep.
So whatever they were giving him the $50 million for was for seasons, not season 3 that he was already doing, as he was already shooting.
That was the money that they owed him for season 2.
No. This was going forward.
That was the money that they owed him for season 2.
No.
Because you can't calculate DVD. We just already established that they got $500 million off DVD sales, right?
Right.
So how do they have $500 million on DVD sales for a season that the nigga ain't even made yet?
What do you mean?
What you mean? What I mean? The money that they owed him was from seasons 1 and 2.
No.
He was waiting. He was waiting on his recoupment from the DVD sales of season 1 and 2. They didn't give him his money. So he said, season 3, I'll walk away before I continue to let y'all hold me.
No, that's not what happened, dog.
Okay.
That's not what happened.
Okay.
That's not what happened. I'm
Okay.
telling you, he was already doing season 3.
Right.
So after season 1, they allowed him to do a season 2. And then it was like an option for the 3rd season.
It was an option.
For the 3rd season.
So why would he already? So if it was an option that hadn't been agreed on, why would he start production?
No, listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying.
Make that make sense.
Okay. After season 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, it's hey, we're gonna do another season.
Yep.
And then after season 2, we can either opt in to do a season 3 or opt out. After season 2 wrapped, they was like, okay, bet. Because in the middle of the season, it started picking up ratings.
They picked up season 3 after episode. They picked up season 3 after episode 3 of season 2, the Rick James episode.
Okay, that's fine. But they picked it up, right? And so that DVD money hadn't even came in yet. That DVD money wasn't even there yet.
Which is why they picked him up and they said, we'll give you half. And then when the DVD sales came in, they realized that half was just going to be way too much money. That was way more money than any other nigga had made. They signed the deal because at the time that they signed it, Comedy Central was a network that nobody watched.
So you think
the only thing they watched on that show was the Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, the Man Show with Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope, Comedy Central half-hour specials, and South Park.
So you think
those were the only things that were consumed largely.
So you think
most of the time on Comedy Central they played old movies.
So you think contractually they could just say, I'm not gonna give you that money?
Yes.
Dave Chappelle would own Comedy Central if that was the case.
Yes.
He would own Comedy Central if that was the case.
Yes, but you know why he wouldn't own Comedy Central? You know why he didn't own Comedy Central after that?
Why?
Because when you sign shit over, when you do a development deal, when you do TV shows, you give them all control of your intellectual property. He had already signed over the rights to not only the Chappelle Show, but his name. That's why he can't come out with nothing else and call it the Chappelle Show.
No, they own the name of the show, the Chappelle Show.
They own the
they
name.
own the right to the
name Dave Chappelle, G.
No, not Dave Chappelle. The Chappelle Show.
But the man,
they don't own.
The man told you. The man
told you. They don't own the Dave Chappelle name.
Go back and watch.
The Chappelle Show. They own the title
what
of
do they call
the
it?
show.
What do they call it when a nigga in football sign a contract right now for money? An NIL deal. What the N stand for?
Yeah, but that's
what does N stand for?
That has nothing to do with
what
Dave
does N stand for? The NIL deal has existed way before they called it the NIL deal. Everybody knows when you sign with an agency and shit, the first thing you sign over is control of your image and your likeness. This is why when you sign a record deal, they have the ability to tell that artist how they should dress and carry themselves moving forward.
That's not correct.
No, that is correct. That's why these artists get out there and all of a sudden this dude who wasn't a tough guy at all is getting is taking pictures, holding guns with his shirt off and niggas around him and shit.
You about to go to another point, but that's not the same as
name, image, likeness.
But that's not the same as, hey, we're gonna give you a television deal, we're gonna give you this money up front to make the deal, we're gonna do all this. We're going to give you at least one season, right? It made
What do you mean at least one season?
We're going to sign you for one season.
When you do a TV show, they don't sign you for multiple seasons.
Right.
It is one season at a time.
No, it's not one season.
They order one season at a time. They order a certain allotment of episodes at a time, either 10, 12, or 24.
Listen, what I'm saying. Dave Chappelle on Comedy Central, they couldn't really give him no major money because
you acting like they did two seasons at a time.
No,
so they signed a contract.
What I just said. What I just said.
1 and 2.
No, what I just say. They signed him for one season because it was a cable network that nobody was watching.
Right.
They gave him a show because it was low budget.
With the astronomical contract because they didn't expect it to do what it did.
No, because it was a low budget. They didn't have nothing to offer. He just wanted to be able to do his own thing, create. After the second season, when the show started picking up, middle of the season, they said, okay, we're going to do a season 3. So they did season 2 all the way out. They finished season 2 out. They're going into season 3. At season 3, in the middle of season 3 is when they stopped. That's why
they didn't stop in the middle of season 3.
They did. That's why
did not stop in the middle of season 3.
That's why Donnell and Charlie Murphy had to go up there and do the rest of the shows.
Donnell and Charlie hosted the lost episodes.
Not lost episodes.
That's what they call them.
There wasn't lost episodes. They already shot all of the sketches, but they needed Dave Chappelle to actually pitch them. They needed Dave Chappelle to pitch the actual the sketches.